What is up? It is your boy APFC back again for another video. Today we are going to be discussing Aaron Ramsey, a player that is now linked to the exit doors at Juventus after not even a season there. If you put two and two together, you'll know what this is about. There is now all these links with Aaron Ramsey with a potential move back to Arsenal. Not anything necessarily concrete, but it's got the fans talking. Would you take Aaron Ramsey back? Yes or no? Now, Aaron Ramsey this season for Juventus hasn't exactly been a hit. He's played 12 games in the Serie A. I've got his stats here. He has not played a full 90 minutes for Juventus. Not at all. Not in the Serie A. He's come off the bench. How many times? Three? Three to five? Three, I think I can see here. And he's got one goal. He's got one goal. He scored against Hellas Verona September the 21st. That's it. He has not scored any goals since. In the Champions League, he got that one goal where he stole it off Ronaldo against Lokomotiv Moscow. And it's just not worked for him. And I've got a lot of respect for Aaron Ramsey because a lot of British players playing in the Premier League for that period of time would not necessarily look to go for that challenge elsewhere. Although that has changed a lot more recently when you're seeing players such as, now Ashley Young going over to Inter, whatnot. It's not something you usually see. And fair play to Ramsey. Obviously, he got a fantastic offer. Talk to being around 400,000 a week, but he took the challenge on and it didn't work out for him. I mean, a lot of people would think that it would have worked out for him, and so did I, simply because Allegri, I could have seen him playing Aaron Ramsey. Obviously, Sarri came in the meantime, and with so many other midfielders there that include Rabiot and Pjanic and Chan when he was there, it was always going to be relatively difficult for him to break into that side. Sometimes Sarri likes to pay Dybala as a number 10, more often than not this season. It's just tough. It's tough for Aaron Ramsey to break into that side. And this is where the talks have come out. Would you take Aaron Ramsey back at Arsenal? I look at it in two ways. You look at it in the fact that you could argue he's a club legend. He's definitely a cup legend at Arsenal. FA Cup final goals against Hull, against Chelsea. And for the loyalty that he showed in a difficult time in Arsenal's history, although it's gotten more difficult now, a lot of the fans have a lot of respect for him, also because he came up from the youth academy. No, yes, he didn't grow up in London. He was signed from Cardiff at 16, right under the noses, in fact, of Man United. But the supporters developed that affinity with him. Aaron Ramsey's career at Arsenal. I think this is a subject that is very much open for debate. Personally, I think Aaron Ramsey's career at Arsenal was good at best. And why I say that is that Aaron Ramsey only averaged really around 4 to 5 goals a season in the Premier League. He was blighted by injury problems. Even at Juve this year, he's had to go off, I think, 2 times in the Serie A, was it? 2 or 3 times again in the Serie A through injury. And, injuries really have affected his career, unfortunately, because, I have a lot of respect for Aaron Ramsey and I like the character that he is. But at the end of the day, it's really affected him. And consistency was something I think he always struggled with at Arsenal, is that he could play half the season as sometimes even a world beater, trying to find that season that he had a brilliant season in the Prem. The 13-14 season, he got 10 goals and 9 assists in the Premier League. The first half of that season in particular, he was looking like almost, people were comparing him to a Frank Lampard in his prime. And yeah, he just was showing a lot of qualities at that time where you thought this was the time that Aaron Ramsey would truly kick on. Didn't exactly work out for him. And he just never really in a season got to that period where not only was he scoring and giving 8 to 9 out of 10 performances or assists consistently, he wasn't even playing consistently. A lot of that was down to injury. I would also argue that a lot of his career, Wenger was playing him out on the left quite a lot, actually, at least for one season, playing him on the right at times. I think Aaron Ramsey is one of the furthest midfielders you could think of as a winger. He can drive at players, I do understand that, but you don't ever get those sort of winger qualities as in with crossing and beating a man. Aaron Ramsey, in some respects, could beat a man when he's running at pace or a quick turn of pace in the midfield, not running at defenders in respects of trying to beat the man with a quick turn or a step over or whatnot. He's not that sort of player. And Wenger was playing him out on that side. I think in some respects you could argue it developed the defensive side of his game, but Wenger, I think, really could have been doing a lot better in respects to playing Ramsey in his preferred position 99% of the time. But as I said to you, he's only averaged around 5 goals in the Premier League for Arsenal across his all seasons each season. Now, I'll read some of these stats out. He got 4 in his last season at Arsenal. 17-18, he got 7. To 16-17, he got 1. 15-16, he got 5. 14-15, he got 6. 13-14, he got 10. That was his big season at Arsenal. And before that, he got 1, and then 2, and then 1, and 3. So and he's played a couple more seasons, but nothing really notable in respects to goals. That's pretty much it. And if you look at those numbers, and if you compared a different Arsenal player, a player that the supporters wouldn't have that affinity with, let's say it was a player that's come from a different league, and he's been putting in those sort of numbers, would supporters be willing to accept that from a attacking-minded box-to-box midfielder at a stature like Arsenal? I'm probably going to go with no for that answer. In some respects, you could argue that right now Aaron Ramsey would improve our goal scoring from the midfield. In a previous video that I did last week about where are the goals coming from in respects to the midfield, in the Premier League this season, we've only got 1 goal. And that was Lucas Torreira against Liverpool at Anfield. We've got no other goals in the Premier League. Do we have a goal-scoring midfielder right now? No, we don't. Ozil is not. Willock has potential, but he's not there. Xhaka doesn't score goals. Torreira has got our only goal in the Prem this season, but he doesn't score goals. So, does that allow room for Aaron Ramsey to slot back in? You've got to look at it in a couple of ways. Aaron Ramsey would slot back in seamlessly, and I think he would have a point to prove simply because in his last season at Arsenal, he, in my opinion, and people may not agree with me with this, but in my opinion, when he was at that period scoring quite a few goals in the Prem, around that sort of time where we were playing Tottenham away in the Prem, where he scored that excellent goal. I thought he was exceptional, particularly the first half that day. But around that period, I thought Aaron Ramsey was performing the best that I've seen him at Arsenal. It looked like he was willing to take on a lot more responsibility. He was taking games by the scruff of the neck, something that I used to criticize him for hiding behind games at times. And he was showing real leadership qualities, which was ironic considering everyone at that stage, and of course himself, knew that his time at Arsenal was up. But I feel that Aaron Ramsey, in his mind, would have, in some respects, some unfinished business at Arsenal, because I don't actually think he hit the peak of his career at Arsenal. He was coming into it, but then we sold him. We didn't sell him, but we let him go. Will his time at Juve potentially have stunted him, considering he's played a year and not really done much? Perhaps. You have to take that into account as well. Is there younger and better players, even in the Premier League or across other leagues, but let's just say the Premier League right now? Yes, I think there is. Right now, I would take James Maddison over Aaron Ramsey. I think James Maddison has the potential to be better than Aaron Ramsey. Will people agree with me about that? A lot of stout Arsenal fans probably won't. But in some respects, I think we could bring him back tomorrow and he would improve our side. But in other respects, is that saying much? Because particularly in the midfield, we don't have any midfielders that can score goals. If I would say Ramsey, they're quoting around 20 to 30 million he'd cost. Could we get a better quality midfielder for 20 to 30 million than Ramsey? Maybe not. It would be a decent deal at his age, maybe not young players, but at his age that we could realistically get. Or would it be more beneficial to spend 50 to 60 on a younger player that looks to have more quality and put him in the side? I don't think we have room for projects right now. Ironically, Aaron Ramsey would be, maybe he's not a project player, he's not a young player, but we don't have time to take these risks on players anymore. Saying that, in some ways, it would be smart to bring him back in. But if there's limited funds in that position in the summer, I think we should be looking elsewhere. Maddison would be someone in the Prem I would look at that I think is a very similar player but could offer a lot more. Because I've seen more from Maddison at Leicester in respects to at his age and being able to take the game by the scruff of the neck, score goals from outside the box, be a proper box-to-box midfielder. I don't think I ever saw that as consistently from Ramsey as I did with Maddison. Saying that, Ramsey does know the DNA of the club. He loves the club. Well, he made it look like he loves the club at least. I don't know what the guy thinks. And he would have no adjustment problems whatsoever. So I can see why fans are divided on this one. What do you guys think? Do you think we should get Aaron Ramsey or we should let this one go? Thanks for watching my video today, guys. Hope you all enjoyed it and look forward to speaking to you guys soon. We'll be dropping some more videos this week about Arteta's reign and previewing the match against Newcastle coming up on the weekend. So please keep your eyes peeled. Please watch some of my other videos that I released last week. Did some good ones in respects to our midfielders scoring goals and essentially what will happen next season in terms of transfers. Thanks for watching. Hope to hear from you soon.